Yeah, the topic today is really Introduction to IANSEO, and it's really opportunity for those of you who always wanted to give it a go and never really had the opportunity to try it out and be successful at it. What I can say, at some point in time, I was just like you guys. I had no tutor, but because I was running a lot of tournaments, it became necessary that I had to use the application. And when I started using it, I realized, it became an invaluable tool and very efficient tool, as a matter of fact, to help me run and organize tournaments. So it has now become a standard part of our toolkit in our club for whenever we're hosting any tournament, small, big, or whatever. Yeah. And I think it's a tool that every club or well, I think all federations probably use it, almost, but every club should at least have one person or two who should be proficient, I think, in using the application. Okay, so I'll go through the topics here. So on the course outline, we're going to look at what is IANSEO. A really kind of strange name really for application, but there's a reason why it's called this, and we'll go through that in a subsequent slide. We're going to look at installation and configuration on Windows. Now, I know one or two people had Mac, but we didn't get the time to do it. I know Gamal was one, but he's using his Windows computer today. The Mac installation a little bit more involved. You have to do some command line operations and so on. And the last time I ran this course, it was done in person. And the biggest issues we had was with installation, because what we had is computers of different versions and different drivers, and there was a little headache getting everybody started. So what we did for this one, we wanted to make sure anyone who wanted to take part interactively, which means you have it installed, we have it working before today. So if we don't have it working yet, we're not going to be trying to fix it in the class at the moment, right? So those of you who are observing, you'll be passive. However, it doesn't mean you can't ask questions, okay? We will have some of the students actually doing some of the actual work in the applications on their install, so they'll be able to share their screen. And sometimes I will share my screen, yeah? Now, before you get going with the application, I think what's important is you need to understand how to plan an archery tournament, what's involved, right? You need to understand the classes, the divisions, the categories. You need to understand the different type of target faces and so on. So those are essential things to know to ensure you're doing the correct thing, all right, when you plan an event. So we'll have a chance, you'll see some of us create a competition live, and we can then ask questions. Someone is coming in, let's see, that's David again, it dropped. Okay, yeah. So you'll have a chance to create a competition and load data into it on the screen. And we'll look at a few other things as well, like creating score sheets, both standard and custom. And we look at different data entry methods, and we'll discuss when you may want to use the different types. Right, then you have the competition data entry, and that's it, next slide. Then we look at printing results and reports. Now the last one here, it's not essential for this course really, but I stuck it in there just in case. So I do have a slide on that. If we do get enough time, we'll probably cover this. This will be used for example, you have a big tournament. Let's suppose you have between 50 to over 100 people taking part on the day, and you want to have multiple people entering data. That way, you can get results much faster than one person entering it. You also have an option you could use, which is I NSEO Scorekeeper. And I'm sure most of you now are familiar with it after doing the World Archery Indoor Series, because that was a tool used to upload live into their system. You could also configure the system to do it for yourself locally as well. Right, so a little bit me, I think you had introductions about myself already. We went through this. The course prerequisites, of course, is that you at least be computer literate. Some cases, you have the application installed, and at least some knowledge of how to run an archery competition, a simple one, nothing fancy, but you know, archery competition. Now, I don't want it to be dead by PowerPoint, so I've limited the slides. So most of the slides, when we go to it, we will switch to switch the application and do some live demos. So what is IANSEO? Right, as I said before, it's used for managing archery tournaments. It's actually one of the most used applications for archery tournaments in the world. It's used at all the major events, even the Olympics as well. And I think even at the Vegas event. It's open source, and it was created with support of the Italian Archery Federation. And the name really comes from its creators, right? So forgive me if I get any pronunciations wrong. So Adingo Zarzella, so right, the I at Andre Gabadi. Actually, and Andre was hoping to join, but at the last time I was going to run this, but I don't think he has the time. You have Christian Deliget, with S, Matteo Pisani, and Marco. Yep. So that's how they came up with the name IANSEO. Yeah. Now, if you go on the website, which is ianseo.net, you'll see all this information and much more. I just put it in your slide here. All right. Now, I believe everyone who planned to take part interactively already has it installed. But if you wanted to, this is the location you'll go to download for your computer. And they have it for Windows, for the Mac, and for Linux, right? I think very few people right now use Linux, but you know, at least the option is there. If you do run the install, please make sure to install to C:/, right? It will then expand it into IANSEO and all the subdirectories underneath here. This is what's recommended in the manual, and I advise you follow it, because if you don't, sometimes you run into issues or bugs, and you may realize it's because of this directory issue you're having problems. So it's best to try and follow the recommendation from the manual if you're not starting off with the program. Right, first, so let me get you guys interactive now. So if you're planning a tournament, tell me, what things do you need to know? Anyone? I'm going to call on names if I don't get...
you need to know the amount of archers that are taking part in the tournament first to begin with.
Yeah, very good. Yes. Someone else, something else?
The name of the tournament?
Yes, that's valid as well.
Name of the archers.
Yep. Well, yep.
And categories.
Yes.
Divisions. Yeah, the divisions of the tournament.
Divisions is also important, yes.
Time and date of the event?
Yes, of course, yes. Right. So good. So most of you all are behind it, and some of the key things we need, right? So I like to put a decided tournament type, because it could be an indoor event, it could be an outdoor event, it could be a field event, it could be a 3D event. So that's the first thing you want to know as well, you know, what kind of tournament you're going to run. Right now we're in outdoor season, so for the purposes of this course, we will be doing just an outdoor event as an example. The classes, right, you want the tournament. So that'll determine the age groups in it, whether it's masters only or cadets and juniors or everybody. The divisions, are you going to have barebow or not? Is it compound only, recurve only, or all three? Right? You'll need to confirm the number of targets needed. Of course, this is based on how many people that are going to be taking part. So that's also a key thing you need to have. You don't have more people than you have targets. And the number of sessions. So are you going to run like multiple sessions to get everybody through the event, like a session in the morning or in the afternoon, or spread over 2 days? That'll also depend on the number, your capacity. So let's suppose you can only have 10 targets and you have 100 people, you'll need multiple sessions to get everyone through, right? And it also depends on how many archers per target. And of course, now with COVID, we may all be reduced in terms of the number of people on a target, maybe 2 maximum, for example. For our indoor event, where we ran it earlier this year, and last year, in some cases, we reduced to 1 person per target. In some cases, right? But not all the time. Or 1 person per target phase. Right. So if you have it installed, right, there's this program called XMAP Control, right? So those who have it installed, could you raise your hand? Let me see if we can see. How many? Sabrina, you have it installed. Patrick, you have it installed? Patrick? See chat.
Yes, I got it too.
Okay, good. Check the chat here. Make a pretty chat or raise your hand. Let's see. Cool. Right. So let me kill this slide, and then I'll go to the directory where it's at. Right. Let's see. Okay, can you all see this here? Is everyone seeing this, the directory on screen?
Yep.
Yeah, good, right. So on the local drive C colon, right, it will install by default to just IANSEO. Okay. It's very easy to move it around. For example, you see I have some old ones here I would have copied as a backup just in case. But if you extract it, put C colon / and it'll extract into C IANSEO, right? If you double click on C IANSEO, you'll see all these subfolders, and in particular, this particular application here, XMAP-control, is the one you want to execute. Okay? You'll also want to run it as administrator. So let me go back to the slide. So those of you that have it installed, could you at least ensure it's up right now? So I want you to start it as well. So you want to run as administrator, right? So once it's up, it will bring up this panel here with these different applications, right? For the purposes of this course, we're only focusing on Apache and MySQL. Forget the rest, all right? We're not looking at FileZilla, Mercury, or Tomcat. Apache is the web service that's going to run locally on your machine. And MySQL is a sort of database, an interactive database that stores all the data for your tournaments. So what you do, you click on Start. When you click on Start, you'll see it popping up with information here telling you what's going on. Pay attention to this area. It's going to let you know if there are any errors while running. And then start MySQL. Right? So let me just see if I could run mines here. So you can see. Now you could also, as I said, videos, yeah?
Hi, Shivan.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I quickly downloaded the IANSEO while you was talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from the folder, what you went to open that XAMPP?
Right. So you go C colon.
Right.
Then
And the IANSEO. Right.
Then XMAP-control.
The control. Okay.
Yeah. So it will bring up this here, right? I've shut down mine so you can see it. So you'll click Start on Apache, and you'll see it's giving you some information here, right? Pay attention to this because you'll need this for troubleshooting if you run into problems. I got no issues here. It's up and going, and I'll click Start on this. You see it's green here now. If it's a different color, you'll know it's a problem, right? It's green means it's running fine. Okay. These port numbers are the port numbers the application using. For those of you who are internet savvy and are experts, you will know that port 80 is the default HTTP port, and 443 is used for SSL, HTTPS, right? Port number 3306 was being used for MySQL. So these are the port numbers that the application is going to use to connect to the database, okay? So there were no errors in my startup here, as you can see. We wouldn't go this now, but if you get in problems, you can look at the logs. You can click on the logs here and see if there are any errors in there. Right? Error log, you can open it up. That's on my different screen. And it'll give you what's happening, right? So you can scroll through this and check the time, make sure you look at the correct ones, right? And this will let you know if you have any problems, all right? So pretty useful. I use this a lot when I think the updates now are a bit better, but when I first started using about 2 years ago, I had to do some configuration to get mine working properly. So far, the newer version seems to be more stable, I believe. So, but yeah, you can always go into these log files to see if there are any errors popping up if it's not working properly for you. Good. So I hope everyone who has it installed have it working. And Chrissy, I know you have yours is working, right? So,
Yes, yes.
good. Cool. Let me go back to my slides. Right, so good. So we have a startup. If you want, you could create a shortcut to your desktop. So instead of navigating to that folder I showed you just now, you could drag it on to your desktop so you can start it from there, but create a shortcut. Don't move the file, just create a shortcut. Yeah. Right, so we went through this. Okay, so once you've done that, you want to create a new competition, right? Now remember, we had already determined what we want to do in terms of the name of the competition, the dates, that kind of stuff, right? So let me escape this and let's go to the application. Right, so once it's up and running, you just have to type http://127.0.0.1. It might look like a strange number, but that's the local IP address of your machine or loopback address on your local machine. Every machine will have this as a local address. And it will connect by default to the port 80 for the web server, the Apache web server. And this is where you're going to start creating your competition. Now, you can just minimize this once you're done. Right, so everybody seeing this? Okay, any questions so far? No questions? All right, cool. Okay, so you want to go under competition, and we have three options, or three main options. You have new, open, and import tournament. So new, of course, you want to create one from scratch. You'll use open to open an existing event. And you'll see in my case, I have a few existing events here, some old ones and some new ones for this course. We're going to be using demo 001 and demo 002 for this course. And you have import. Now, if someone already has a tournament created, you can actually just import it and you get all the information in. It's a shortcut. It's a really nice thing to have if you have a tournament that you want to import. Cool. So let's click on new, right? Let's go to new. And I hope you all can see this clearly, all right? So the one competition code, this is really up to you. So let's call it demo 03 for this case. Name my tournament, let's call it Caribbean and virtual 21, right? Give it a short name. It's up to you. Word 21. I put my initials here on this part here. Organized by, let's say, SAC. Right. Cool. So this ORIS compliant. Just don't check that. Leave that as it is. The localization rule is very important, right? So if I click on this, you see it brings up all the different rules that's in the database. You have World Archery Tournament rules, Archery GB, Australian, Canadian, and a whole bunch of others. For all purposes, for 99% of the time, we will use this World Archery Tournament rules. Okay. So if you're following along and you're installed, you could check this off. Competition type. Now this one, you want to be correct or be certain about this. And this again, you'll know before you get here and you're planning. So for example, you want to run a standard 2-distance event, which is 70 and 50 meters. So you select this round. Right, if you're doing a full FITA, you'll put 4 distances. The FITA has the 90, 70, 50, 30 for men, and of course 70, 60, 50, 30 for women. But we're not doing that. We're going to use this one. Right, this is typically what we run here in the Caribbean. But you'll see the others here, right? You have field events, indoor rounds, and a whole bunch of stuff. So before you go on to experiment with these other types, go with the standard one you're familiar with. So I'll recommend this. We're not going to do any, well, yes, we are going to sub-rule. So the sub-rule here has the class, all right? Every class, everyone in one class, junior and senior or cadet only, okay? So for this little demo, we just put 1 in all class here. I have another demo we can pull up with the other one. And of course the place. So I'll say virtual, because it can be run across the Caribbean or across the world. But this is where you'll put the location, actual physical location of where you're going to run your tournament. The time zone is going to be running. I mean, for most of us here, it's Caracas, La Paz, or GTM -4, and the date of your event. Okay. This is, you can choose if you use this paper, that's fine. This will come in handy when you want to print out results to make sure the margins are correct and so on. You can put the currency as dollars and leave this as is. And we're not going to do this today, but we could cover this if you all want later on, or you could always ping me on doing this. If you wanted to do the IANSEO scorekeeper, all you have to do is enable just this one, not the Pro. You have to pay for Pro. Click this one here, and you'll have to put in some more information, right? But we're not doing this as part of this class. I would say this is more for the next level, intermediate and so on, right? But if anyone wants to try it in the future, let me know, and I'll give you some tips. I do have a slide on some things you need to know at the end, and we'll talk about it there. Okay, so once you finish that, you want to click Save, all right? But I am going to take a shortcut because I did it already, and I'm going to open up the one I did before, right? Cool, so once you open the competition, you have it here, Demo Archery Tournament, the short name, created, organized by, and so on. You have all this information, yeah? So what next? What do we do next? Now, there are a lot of menus here you can see, going from left to right, okay? So when you now start, you want to focus on your left side first, on the competition information. So this is the view the competition info, as we see here. Next step, you want to edit the information, right? We won't touch images right now, it's not critical at the moment, but we want to go to a session, right? So let me go back here. Okay, so when you go into session management, pay attention to the headings, okay? So notice here, shooting session management, number of sessions. In our case, we're only doing 1, right? Remember I said at the beginning, if you have a lot of people, you'll probably have to spread them over multiple sessions, okay? For this purpose, we only have 1 session being shot. Then you'll want to know the target per session, okay? I kept it small because I want us to enter some data for this particular demo. So only 4 targets you're going to have in this session. right? And then I mean, in the demo you'll see, I'm going to have 2 here for the number of archers per target, right? This is an old screenshot. Cool. So notice the heading, targets per session, archers per target. So you would have already known that beforehand. So when you enter the data, you have that information. So in the live one we have here right now, you see I have it here. Now it's 4 targets per session. So we have no more than 4 targets. And we have 2 archers per target. So you'll notice for session 1, we have 2 distances, right? We have distance 1 and distance 2. So for each distance, we're going to be shooting 6 ends of 6 arrows, which gives us 36 and then 72. Not sure who was that. Right? Any questions on this page? Anyone? Okay. No questions? Everybody following? Guys? Okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're following.
Okay, good. Very straightforward, right? So good. Right. So once you complete with session management, the next thing, of course, is your divisions and classes. And as I said before, you would have already determined beforehand what you're going to have, right? This slide here only has recurve and compound, but I'm going to show you the actual live one. We have variable in there as well. Okay. So let me go back to your live. That looks better. So remember competition. You did competition info. We went through sessions already. We'll come back to field crew. Let's go to divisions and classes. Right. So in this live one here, the demo one here, we have recurve, we have compound, variable. Right. Is that para? So leave this as is. Is athlete? Yes. And this is the order. It's fine. You can delete it if you want, but don't. Right. But you can't delete it by pressing X here. And then the classes we have in this particular one, remember, all in one, right? So we don't have the different like cadets and so on. I'll pull up a separate demo which has that. Okay. So for this particular demo, it's all in one. So we have just men and women, right? There's no differentiation between masters, men, juniors in this particular demo. And you notice I have the age from 1 to 100. I don't know why, I know. I mean, I know there are people in the 90s shooting. I'm not sure if I know anybody over 100 still shooting, but you never know. Let's see. So that's that, right? Let's go back to what slides again. Cool. So everyone understand the classes, divisions, and we understand the setting up the targets and so on, right? Cool. So let's look at now entering the participants. So you set up the let's call it the house or the framework for your event. The next step, of course, is entering the participants. Now there are different ways to enter. All right. For a very small event, it may be easy to enter it manually. I mean, it's only like 5 or 8 or 10 people. You could enter it manually. And to do that, let me make sure I'm finished on this side. No, let me hold back on that. Let me go back and cover this. And let me show you the, sorry. So if you go back here under competition info, there's what you call manage distances as well, right? So you can take a look at it. So it shows you what each division is shooting. So you have in this particular demo, right? So you have R, which is recurve, men and women. R% means all of them will be shooting 70 meters for distance 1 and distance 2. Okay, because remember we chose a standard 2-distance feature event. For compound, men and women shooting all the compounds, 50 meters for distance 1 and 50 meters distance 2. For barebow, it's 50 meters, but this is on a 122 face. Okay, so we'll come to that on a different slide. Right. So when you look at managed targets now, it now shows you what kind of target people are going to be using for the event. Right. Now remember, we selected a standard event, and all this is populated beforehand for you. Okay. So you'll see here for recurve, men and women is using the default target. Right. Both carrot are recurve and the barebow using a 122 cm face. This 1 to X mean is scoring from 1 to X, the X ring. So 10 and X are recorded. Same for both. For the compound, you have default CO, which will be default compound. So all the compounds will be shooting on the 80 centimeter face. However, from the 5 ring to the X, okay, not 1 to 10. So you make sure you use your right target face for the compound archers on the 80 centimeter face. Any questions on this? No questions? Either, doing this really good or you all are shy. No questions? Okay. All right, we'll move on now to populating that house. Let's see, PowerPoint slides. Okay. Okay, so next up we'll go to participants, and then we're going to be entering, you can enter manually or participants. Okay. And it's like almost like an Excel sheet. You just type it in and just hit enter and it goes in to your database. I personally don't use this very often, but I do use it to make one-off corrections or to add 1 or 2 individuals manually. Okay, because most of the events I've managed before has been in excess of 30 people, sometimes as much as 90 or more, right? So I only use the manual entry for short entries, 1 or 2 or 3 at a time, or something, or correction. So to do that now, so once you finish on the competition side, so remember we go competition, right? And we go to these options here. Once you're all set there, we now go participants. So we have a simple list, which shows you right now, I put in there some, like a John Doe, I made up these names in here, right? And once you set the division they're in, it will automatically set the target type. For example, you notice that default CO, default compound. Okay. What's also important is that it has the target they're assigned to, right? I'll show you how to get this done. You can put it in manually, or you can have the program automatically assign the target information for you. What's also very important is this BIB number. For those of you who have done anything on databases before, it's similar to a unique ID. So this number should not repeat. So you shouldn't have 20013, right? So it should only occur once for the athlete, right? So it's like a unique ID for each athlete. Yep. Any questions then? All right. Now for participants, you also have advanced. So you could click on advanced, and you could start adding someone manually if you like, right? But of course, as I said, you have to put in the BIB number. So I could put in here, for example, 0015 is the next one available. Last name. Let's say, and if you put in date of birth, they'll automatically put the right age group. But in this case, we're not worried about that. Country, let's see. Did I spell that correct? Okay, so division, let's call it recurve. R, this will be M for men. Cool. If I do add, no, I did wrong. My bad. I'm supposed to do add first. My bad. Add first, and then you put it in. 0015. Okay, 5. Now, as I said, those of you who have the application, you could go ahead and try it on your own. Cool. This is a drop down come down here. So you drop down this as R, C, or B, because remember, it's for recurve, compound, and variable. Man, yeah, cool. So that's it. It's in there, right? If I do participants list, I should see markers in there. Now, I hear someone might make some noise there. If you're not speaking, you can just mute 3 times. Okay, right. So you will notice that he hasn't been assigned a target yet. Now we could assign it manually, no session either, right? We could do it manually if we wanted to. And to do that, we'll go back into participants, advanced. And here we can say, okay, markers, we're going to choose session 1 because we only have 1 session available. And we can give my target. Now use this format, 00 target number, then letter, or 0 target number, letter. So 003A, right? So remember, we have no more than 2 people per target, right? So he's good to go there, right? Any questions on this?
If Sherwin, if when clubs send in like their information, and if they send it in like in this format on an Excel sheet, can this not be imported like directly into the software?
Correct. Yes. So what I try to do is, if for example I'm collecting the data, and I'll get to that in the automatic import section, I will create a form that will collect the information and then export it back to me in a format that I'll show you in a second that we can import. So right now, we're just going to the manual, and then I'll show you how to do the bulk import from my Excel file. Yeah, but that's a good question. That's how I usually load my own from Excel. Okay, so no questions on this tournament here? Let's see. Slide 14. Okay, cool. So before I move on to the next slide, I want to load up another competition. So I'm going to close this one. It isn't going anywhere. It's in the database still. And this was a bigger event, and it has a bit more information, right? So it's a similar type of tournament, 70-50, 2 distances, right? Virtual, the date, 1 session still. Now we're going to have here session 1. Notice this time we have 32 targets, 2 artists per target, so it's bigger. So it's a competition. This was fine. So if you look at sessions for this particular event, I have set the targets per session at 32 because we have, I believe, over 60 people in this event. Artists per target is 2. So 2 times 30 will give us 60, and I normally always put other extra targets in there. And for the session, it's the same, 6 ends, 6 arrows for each distance. Okay. Now, we skipped the field crew the last time. So if you wanted to, if you click on field crew, You could put in here the officials. So for example, you could put in your judges, your director of shooting, your DOS and so on. If you want to keep it really formal, so that when you do the report for the tournament, you'll see who was the DOS for the event and the judges and so on, right? It's optional. I do it now. I actually put in at least the director of shooting I have in there, and sometimes the tournament organizer, right? Sometimes it's good for your records. When you're looking back a few years down the road, you would have known who was involved. Okay, so if you remember the previous demo, we just had men and women, right? For this particular demo, we have all the classes involved. So you have men, women, junior women, cadet men, cadet women, and master men and master women. Okay, so this is typically for a bigger event, like a national event is what you would have. Unless, of course, you want to have the younger kids involved. Now, if you're doing the younger kids, you have to create a custom category for them, and this is where you'll do it. You'll add it in here, give them a designation for the class. We're not doing this in this one, right? I'll leave that for intermediate class, but this is where you'll add in other classes for your competition. So for example, if it's for men, they'll have the age bracket, 21 years to 49, okay? So that's the year they turn 21. Women, the same thing as well, 21 to 49. For junior, it's the year they turn 18 to 20. For cadet, of course, because we cater for everyone else younger, it's from 1 to 17. But if you had younger groups in there, you'd have probably put cadet as, say, 14 here, right? And then you create another group below for the younger kids. Same for cadet women, and then for master men, 50 to 100. Okay. Any questions on this one? Okay, no questions there. Okay. Okay. Did I change anything here? Right. So for this one, you'll see that it has more information in there. So for compound men and women, sorry, no, the CM is cadet men, cadet women, you'll see it as a 60 because they shoot 60 meters maximum. Okay, but the juniors shoot 70. So you see it's covered here. Men, of course, 70. Masters, men also shoot, and women shoot no further than 60. So you see it's covered here as well. For the compound, whether it's men, women, junior, whatever it is, they all shoot 50 meters. Okay. If, as I said in the previous slide, you had the younger kids in there, let's say they were cubs, we call them cubs in Trinidad, I'm not sure what you call them in the other islands. And our cub age group is from, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, from 12 to 14. Yeah, 12 to 14 years old, I believe, right? It's cubs. You could create a distance here for them and say 30 meters. Okay. So this is where you would do that. Right, and here too, you'd also have to amend here to create something for the cubs if you add them in, because they will shoot an 80 centimeter target, but including 1 to 10 rings, not just from the 5 ring onwards. So that's something to note if you want to do something a little bit more advanced. Okay, so let's go back to the participants again. So in this one now, you notice you have a lot more names in there, right? You know, you don't want to be entering all of this manually. Right? I said I would use the manual option, this participants advanced, more for edits or corrections or one-off additions. Okay. Now, if you read the manual from IANSEO, there's a format they ask for to load data in. So where it goes participants, athletes, and you click on list or load from a spreadsheet. Okay. Now we don't have another database connected to, which may have information. We will load from a spreadsheet. So when you click on this now, it shows you for each column in this spreadsheet what to put. So one is BIB, two session, division, class, and on, right? And it will give you a little bit more information on the right-hand side here of what they expect. Now the file has to be in a tab delimited Excel file. So what I'll do, I'll bring up the sample file I use for this one. So that.
Question.
Yes, go ahead.
Can the software generates this tab delimited column thing, or we have to make it?
Yeah, I'll show you. Oh, yeah, it's in Excel. You'll make it in Excel. So I'm going to show you that now.
You have a template you could share with us?
Oh, definitely. I plan to do that after the course. I'm going to share a template with you all.
Perfect. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my plan. I want to do that. So what I do, I was have the information in Excel. Now it's up to you how you collect this data. Some of it you'll have to put in, right? So I didn't put the headings in here, but you can see here this one is BIB, as I said. So if you look at let me go back in here. One is BIB. Two is session. Now I didn't put the heading in here because if I put the heading in, it will actually give an error when I import. But for this exercise, just put it in, right? So I put here BIB session. This is the division, right? BIB. This is class. See what this has here. Target. Okay, this one has no targets yet. I think it's target. So you could actually manually put it in here as well if you wanted to. There about this one is team qualification round. Okay. SQL. Okay. Fine. And then you have it says this is last name, I believe. First name. This is gender. Right. I believe country or club, whatever you want to put here. Club, whatever you want to put, you put it in there, right? So let's see. Yeah, so that's country or state code, country name, and so on, right? It doesn't fill in all of these here, but what I have is the critical ones you need to put in. Okay. And you could collect this information from, let's suppose you create a Microsoft Forms input, like this is, for example, the same form you use to sign up for this course. You could configure the form to capture all this information for you. And then the form will then export it in Excel. Then you could then come into Excel now and add in the additional columns, right? Especially those from A to J, for example. You'll add in those. It depends. For example, you may have, if it's multiple sessions, you may put in the form which session if someone is choosing. You could have the division as well in the class. You could have it, and you could make all this like drop downs in the form as well. Huh? So you could have them select whether it's cadets or juniors or whatever it is, right? So you could make it mandatory. So collect as much information as you can from the user, saves you a lot of time. Okay, then you could take that information and just put in the additional columns that you need to have because you have to put in the additional columns as it will load properly. Okay, so once you finish that, you can do File, save a copy, and here in Excel is where you will tell it what format to use, right? It's very important, use tab delimited. I've tried others and it's been a headache, so always use tab delimited. Where is it? Let's see. All right, this one here. Should have gotten my glasses. I think I left it. Okay, so use tab delimited to save it. Okay, now once you do that, and I'm going to say I have one already there. You go here and you click Browse. I have mine in a particular folder. So notice I put a thing here, tab, right? So I'll note the tab file. Don't try to load the Excel one because you run the problems, right? I click open, and then I say load at least. So there's a load. There's the cross here represents a change. You would have changed someone's assignment. Okay, this is just a demo, so I'm not worried about that. So it loads in all the users. If there's a problem, it'll pop up here. You'll see the red, or there's an issue, or if for some reason someone wasn't assigned a target, or something went wrong, you'll see it pop up on the screen. You could probably, if it's one or two, you could do it manually in the advanced list, right? You could go and edit manually. Yeah. So that's the quick way to load your participants in. So I recommend you use this, right? Use the do the work in Excel, right? And load them up in one batch. Any questions on this again? Okay, Christy, are you following along?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Good. So you're gonna have to demo for us in a bit, right? I'm just giving you a heads up.
Okay.
So make sure the database is running. Okay, good. So now that we have our users in and you know everything is all set and so on, you may want to print your score sheets, right, for input on the data. So, but before you go, let's print the participants. Let's look at that first, right? So let's print out, and you want to see your participants now. You want to share this information with the clubs or whoever is taking part. You click participant list, and there are loads of options here. All right, don't worry about it. I just go to this one here. All right, order by target, and download the file. Let's see how it looks. Let's see. It's on my other screen. Sorry, guys. See this one. This one didn't work well. Print out. Let me go back here. Right. So mine was empty. So it does mine was empty. Oh, you didn't see it. Sorry. Let me send across to the other screen. So this is partly troubleshooting, right? That's we're doing here live. So I'll put the file, and look, it's empty. Nothing, nada. What's going on, right? So did you do something wrong? Robert just coming in. Right. So what did I do wrong? Right. I didn't get anyone printed out here. So let's go back and look at.
Then assign the people to a target.
Yeah. Was that sorry?
Didn't assign the people to a target, correct?
Excellent, excellent, right? That's the reason. If you notice here, they won't assign a target. So this is typically what happens if you didn't do that, right? So it gives us an opportunity now to actually do it. But I noticed something missing here, and this is the variable guys. For some reason, I have to manually assign these. I'm not sure what's going on with that.
All right. I have a question while you're figuring this out.
Yeah, good.
When you have multiple sessions, like if there's a split competition over 2 or 3 days, then the forms can be configured to accept that information also?
Yes, it can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just got to drill down. I have to just drill out from the tabs to see where those people need to pick, like if they're shooting on a particular date or a particular time.
Yeah. So yeah, you do have when you do the competition configuration, you'll configure that in there. The multiple sessions and dates and so on.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. So right. So we got nothing on our target information, and we need to give them our target, right? So we have options here. So there's a target. We do manual assignments. We go in and say you want to type it in. I'm going to deliberately do this and then erase it, right? So let's say you're going to put a 0001. Notice something is yellow. Now, if you see a yellow, it's a warning, something not right. Okay? It will not accept it. Okay? What it's looking for is something more like 0001. 1A. Notice it went off, it went white, right? And let's suppose this one is a compound. Let's put 001B. Okay, so that's good. Let's say for some reason you're doing it manually and then you assign someone a target again, 001B. What will happen? Notice it went red. It's showing you there's a problem. You're trying to assign two people where they're not supposed to be. So just pay attention to that, right? Now, it doesn't always tell you, this is so many things with the application, it doesn't always tell you doing something wrong. You need to pay attention to the signals it gives you, whether it's a color change or whatever it is. That's something is wrong, right? B, okay, boom, 002A. Right, cool. So now that I've corrected it, it's fine, right? The color is gone off. But I'm going to take all these off because we're going to do an automatic assignment and see what it does, all right? Because you don't want to go through assigning manually for everybody, especially if it's a big event. So if we go to participants, target, and we do draw, we can now tell the application, and the first part at least is to do it itself, assign it. Divisions, we lose all, look, we did that fine. So you want to separate the divisions, so you keep the compounds and so on separate. Assign the targets, and from targets, let's say 001A, so let's say 00032B. Okay, and we say okay. Something is not right here. Let's see, %. Right. So I left out to include everybody. The % sign meant to include everybody. And this shows me what it did, right? So the 70 meters, it showed me all the assignments here. Okay. And notice at the bottom here, I can't assign targets to these two, right? For some reason. We could troubleshoot that afterwards. Okay. So if we go back now to print out participant list, let's see if we get what we want to see. So if I click on this here now, it's downloaded, and it should come up on the other screen. Boom, so it's working. So now you can see how to assign everyone. Usually it does it correctly in terms of for the right, whether it's compound or whatever it is, right? So everyone's assigned. You could manually go in and tweak it if you like. If you want to change someone around, you can do it manually. Okay. These numbers and boxes here have a meaning. So it says 1 to 5. You'll typically see at least box 1 has a check in it or it's grayed off. And the bottom of the form, it will tell you 1 is individual qualification wrong, which is what we're doing right now. Right? So if it's yes, that's what the black box means here, right? Okay. So if you're taking part in all the others, you'll see the checkbox on or whatever it is. Yeah. Any questions on this here? Nope. Okay, cool. So I think everybody understands. And this, I hope people are trying to follow along and experiment as well. Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Let me just ask a question, please.
Sure.
What happens if a person comes back and says their name was spelled wrong, or they were assigned to the wrong country, or something like that?
No, very good. So this is a case where now we'll go to participants, advanced, right? And then you manually go in and change it here. So for example, if I want to change this name, I'll just put, let's put it in here. Say, or something like that. I don't know what it is, right? And that's it. Simple as that. All right. The same thing for the country. You can change it in right here as well. Right. So this is when I'll always use this part of it, right? The participant. Sorry, what am I saying? Advanced list. All right. So do those sort of one-off and sort of additions. For the bulk load, I definitely recommend you start up in Excel Microsoft Forms to gather information, then output to Excel and then put it in there. I'm going to send you all the sample one I have. So as we said, we don't reinvent the wheel. It'll give you a good jump start on getting things in. And then you work from there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Now, if you put no here in this checkbox, it means that it wouldn't get a chance to compete, right? So it wouldn't show up on the list. So make sure this is saying yes as well, right? Cool. Good. Any more questions on this here? No questions? Okay, cool. All right, so let's look now at inputting data. So I don't want to use this big database for that, right? I'll close out this competition and I'll go back to the little demo one I had before, right? So I'm going to close this one and I'm going to open up this one, which is just a few people in it. This list simple, just 5, but I want to add one more recurve in there. So if I add in one more, I'll just use advanced and add, let's see, session 1. Yes. And I'll put 003B. Remember, everyone must have a unique ID. 16. Yes. I'm just making up stuff here. Okay, recurve. Then, cool. Right, so he's in. Let's double check it. Let's simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, good. So let's look now at data entry. So we have our tournament created. We have populated the database, and the tournament has started. And this is where the action starts now. You know, you need to enter your data, right? And so someone, yeah, could you go on mute if, for a second? Yeah, I'm not sure who's making noise there, but yeah. Okay, good. Sorry. Right. So, time for action to start. Right. The tournament has started, and we need to enter the data. Now, there are different ways you could approach this. Right. You could wait until the score sheets come in after the event. Right, and you have 1 or 2 people entering the data. I think that is the most tedious part. You could have people entering scores as it comes in. You could have like run-in sheets as an option where people, for each end, you have runners who write the scores for each end, and your people at just enter the data as you go along. You can either enter it in at the end of the first distance, if you like. But I find with those methods, it does take a while to compute the final results. The best I've used so far, and we tried out recently, is the IANSEO scorekeeper, where athletes enter data themselves. It saves you a lot of time because you have more fingers working, right? Because if you have 20 athletes and 20 of them inputting data, it makes your job much easier, right? It doesn't mean you don't have to enter some of the information yourself. You may have to, but it could save you a lot of time and you can get results much faster. However, we have these methods here to enter data. You have the standard table, extended table, arrow by arrow, advanced user, and scorecard view, right? And you use different ones depending on what you're trying to do. So let's suppose I wanted to input score. So remember, we went from competition, then we went to participants. Now we're going across to the right. Okay. Input score. If you select standard table, you want to select the session, and you have the targets here. Distance is distance 1. Okay, this is to include the x's if you have it. If you count in x's, arrows. Let me see, set all. If you click OK, we can now enter the data for the athletes, right? Okay, so you can put the final scores in here. This is one method. The other method is input score, extended table, session, targets, all, x's, okay. Right. So you can see you can put more information in for session 1 and session 2. Sorry, not session 1. Distance 1, distance 2, right? And it just gets summary information, so it doesn't have arrow values. Okay, so that's one way you can do it as well. Then you have arrow by arrow advanced user. Now here you can specify the end. I prefer this method for if you enter in scores live as it comes in. I suppose at the end of each end you have access to your score sheet information. I prefer this one, right? Using 6 arrow ends. So you get the scores in much faster. Okay, that's if you're not using IANSEO Scorekeeper. So here, for example, you type for each person the arrow values. And what the computer does, it just tabulates the actual score at the end, right? So you can put the X2, right? So it knows the X is 10. See, it's computing it here. You probably have a miss. You put the M. It also knows that. All right. Right. So yeah. So we're back on after that short network interruption. Yeah. So I was entering the scores here, and remember I was saying that this one is the advanced line by line, right? This is input score, advanced arrow by arrow, right? So I'm entering scores here manually. So this is typically as the scores come in, you can type them in 10, 10, 9, 7, 7, 7. Now notice I put in an X here. It counts the X as 10. I can put in an M as well. Now I put a 4 in here. I was asking a question. Why do you think it went yellow when I put 4?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure.
That would be compound, right?
Compound
So yeah, correct. Remember when we set up the
would be a
compound,
miss.
yeah, the compound target
only go to
is only
5.
from 5 and
5
up,
to
right?
10. Yeah.
Right. So this should be either a miss or a 5. Yeah.
Right.
So if it went white now, right? If I put a 1 here, for example, 2, yeah, right. So pay attention to that. This is it doesn't warn you sometimes, but it will do something like this. Yeah. So pay attention to that when you enter in scores. And so if I wanted to go now to distance 2, not distance 2, let's do N2. Let's click N2 here. Click OK. And then you could enter the scores for the next end. Right, so I said, those of you who have a database up right now, you could try it for yourself and put in some scores, right? Because you could then follow along and then print out some reports. But the only reason why I'm doing this now is because I want to print some reports so you can see at the end of it.
Download section is just one big link to the download area.
Right, you can mute now if you're not speaking. I'm not sure whose background noise you're hearing there, but you can mute now.
And then we come into this page
Mm,
where the links are. Now,
I'll just put in 3 ends only just to save some time.
version. It's also got the Linux and Apple Mac versions here, and it's one, so that'll be quite a big file. Today I'm just going to install it on Windows 10, so I'm just going to go for smaller, which is around 100.
Right, okay, cool. All right, let's do 10. Yeah, when you finish ask questions, you can mute the mic afterwards, right? Because you get a lot of feedback in here. Got to put in some numbers here. I'll just put in numbers at random, just for the purpose of the class, so we can print a report afterwards. I'm gonna do 3 ends. 3 ends. Okay.
In terms of the cells with target 2A and B, is there any particular reason those are highlighted yellow?
They have it 2 by 2. So this is target 1A, 1B is target. This one target. 2A and 2B is yellow. So
Also, if it had a 4, it will then be yellow or something.
yes,
highlighted.
yeah.
Okay.
And as I try to enter the way we'll write it as well from the highest value downwards, right? This is not right. Okay. But it was, I mean, even if we put it in the wrong way around, it will still compute correctly. All right. But just as we write it on the sheet, I try to put it in the same way as well. What I've found is that when I enter scores for folks, I use the arrow values. I don't use what they put as their score total here and so on, right? Because you'll find a lot of times people make errors with the summations on the right side. So I use the arrow values. And as you know, with World Archery rules, if you put a score that is higher, or the total is higher than what you actually have, what do you get? What do you get? Anyone could answer that? If you write in a score higher than what you got, what happens? Christy?
I'm guessing that it'll be yellow.
No, I don't know about in World Archery rules. If you you're doing a score sheet.
I think what happens is that you lose the highest value score that you actually have once they identify that you put in a wrong score.
Penalty, yeah.
No, yeah, I think what happens is that you get the actual score. So
No, right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
You don't get, once you sign to the score sheet and the person signs, you get whatever is written there.
Hello, yeah, this is Brian here.
Go ahead, Brian.
What you get is the actual score that you have. If you sign for a higher score, if your score is 28 and you sign for 30, you will get 28.
Right. So Brian is our DOS. So yeah, so that's correct. Now, what if, for example, and Brian, you could probably answer this again, if you sign for a score less than you actually have?
If you sign for a score less than you actually have,
yeah,
according to World Archery rules, that is what you will be given, what you sign for then.
Right. So guys, my view on this, that is not fair, right? My view is if they could give you less for signing more, they should give you more for signing less. That's just my view. But Brian is correct. That's the World Archery rules. That's the way it's done. So it's very important to make sure you do your tabulations correctly and teach your athletes to do it correctly, so they don't lose points unnecessarily. Everybody understand that?
Yep.
Okay, good. Chrissy, I hope you're entering some data on yours, right?
Yeah, yes, I am playing around with mine, yeah.
Right, good. So we might ask you to show us a report afterwards, yeah? Just because it's taking long, I really don't want to do all, so I'll just do a few, right? So that 4 ends for the small competition we have here in this demo. 7, cool. Okay, so we entered some data, and You want to see how people do in terms of ranking, all right? So you say here, not input score, we could do print out division class results is what I typically use. And let's see what we get. So look, so you see now, it has now output the data I have in there so far for each person, right? And the rank. So position 1, Andrew is ahead. So actually even actually, 202, 202. But he is ahead because he has more X's. Now this is a case where putting in the number of tens and X's is very important, right? Because it will affect your rank and may eventually affect who you shoot up against. So they have the same score, right? However, Andrew has more X's than Marcus, so he's now ranked position 1 in the recurve. Okay. So the compoundment, this is what we have here. We had one woman taking part. A bit biased there. I should have probably put another woman. So she's alone, Jane Doe. Cool. But this is typically what I do. And as you see, we entered only for distance 1, so it's highlighted here. Right? We haven't put in data for distance 2 yet, but it's the same process you would use. When you enter in, you select the distance and you put the data in. Right? Now, we don't want to go through all that in the class, but it's something you want to play around with. Any questions on the data entry? Okay, cool. So our area we didn't cover, and I don't know how I missed this on the slide here, is the actual score sheets themselves, right? Remember, you have to give the athlete some score sheets, so the program does all of that for you. Okay? So what you want to do now is going to, let me see, where was it? Scorecard printout. Now this is where you would, I think I forgot to put a slide in, so I'll have to edit it for you guys. So this is where you'll print all the scorecards that you're going to use to put in the scores. Now leave it as default here, right? See 6 arrows, right? You want to select the session, of course, and the targets, okay? The distance you want to select, 1. You can put 2 of them if you like, but for this I'll just put the distance 1. Okay, and then you click print scores. Let's open it up. Okay, so this is what you'll give to the athletes to fill out. And as you can see, it's already populated their names on their sheet. To the left here, this part here, you're seeing it as, you all seen it, yeah? Everyone seen it?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Can you go back to it again and move for a minute there?
Are you all seeing that? I think you all see the wrong sheet, you know? Hold on. Stop share. Are you all
Charles Marcus and Jado, 1A or 1B.
Oh, you seen it? Okay, good. Okay, great.
Yeah. Before you move, I'll go back to it again. I move for a minute, Jack. Now, so I'll go back to the whole process of the printing of the scorecards to the
I'm not hearing any question properly. Sorry.
Go back to the printing of the scorecards again, please.
Okay, sure.
I move for a few minutes. So. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right. What we do, we go qualification. Not here. Sorry. No, scorecard printout. You press up this form. Let me go. Simple. Right. Qualification, scorecard printout. Leave it as here, complete score, right? Leave it as 6. You want to choose the session you're printing for. The targets you want to print, 1 to 4 in this case. You must select the distance, all right? I just printed for 1 at this moment, or you can print for 2 of them, right? The one I just did, it was just for distance 1. You can print for both of them at the same time if you like. So this is the output you will get for each person, yeah? Okay. Now, if you were using the IANSEO scorekeeper, what will appear on each sheet is the QR code at the bottom that you would scan. so that the application will know how to enter the information correctly. Yeah. Now, let me see if I find, any questions? And I'll look for a sample file I used recently with our folks.
Is
Any
the
questions?
process of adding the scorekeeper to the tournament a difficult one, or is something you just get with use over time?
No, it's not difficult. I'll probably go it over the end again. It's not difficult. I think I covered it at the start, but I'll show you again at the end.
Right, I remember you showed us,
Yeah.
but it's that simple as in just to click to include it, right?
Yeah, but there is one part of it, and then it actually get to work is in XSU. So that's why I'll cover it at the end.
Okay.
Because because you can print it out, but if you don't have the networking part of it set up properly, it may not work.
All right.
Yeah. So
Sure, and I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you use the system, does it populate the results worldwide, or you can use the system sort of like offline worldwide and just use it for your club?
Okay, what I'm demonstrating here is only for local use on your club.
All
at the
right.
moment,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Yeah. That part I think will cover more intermediate or advanced stuff where you have to talk to IANSEO directly, and then you could probably get them to set up a server where you can upload it live, just like they did for the indoor series. I actually did it for one of my events. I had someone set up a server for me, and we ended ours live, so it went directly onto IANSEO system. So that's a part. That's what I'm heading to next, really, for me personally in terms of development of being able to put all my tournaments live online.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Let's see. Any more questions? I'm looking for something here. Okay. Right. So I'll pull up here a score sheet that I created for the club and for TNT, because what I realized after our last event is that you saw plain Jane this was, right? It doesn't really tell you what the box is for. You know, I mean, someone who experienced it is like it's no brainer, right? And I think we took it for granted that everyone knows what to do. So what I did in the NSEO, I did up a sort of demo sheet to show users, new archers, how to fill the form out properly. And this is specific to outdoor. And it has to be specific because for the indoor event, you won't see so many columns. For example, you won't see 10 plus X and X. You'll see 9 and 10. And what we have basically 3 arrow totals, which is there to really help you add better, right? Make it easier. So 3 arrow totals here. This one is a 6 arrow total. This column is for the cumulative 6 arrow totals. Okay. And as long as people doing the 3 arrow totals correctly, and then the 6 arrow, everything else falls into place. But sometimes people, they don't do this, and then they make errors, and they will end up getting the wrong totals at the end that they sign for. Okay. Of course, you have to put an M as an M, not a 0. Sometimes put a 0. Make sure to put an M as an M. Okay, you can put in the X. X is 10. All right. And also this column. So, for example, row totals, number of 10s plus X's. So here we have 10. We have 1 10. In this case, we have X and 10. However, we have 1 X. We have 2 10 because X is also a 10. In this case, we have 3 10s. Here we have 2 X's, right? But 2 X is also 2 10s. And then at the end of it, we have the total of 10s and total of X's. Remember, if you have the identical total score, this could affect your ranking. And if you didn't sign it in here, guess what? You wouldn't get it, all right? So make sure when your athletes fill out these forms, they fill out all the information that's here. Here that shows you what's the X, the inner ring, X, 10, 9. Yeah, any questions? Are we still on? You all need to speak to me because I just want to make sure I didn't lose the connection again.
Yeah, we still on, we still on.
All right, good.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. Right, so let's go back to PowerPoint again. Yeah, I try to keep the PowerPoints to a minimum because you can see within the application there, there's, virtually several menus and options, and if it was to be done by a PowerPoint, it'd probably be hundreds of slides. And I don't want to go through hundreds of slides. Right, so we did some of this already, right? Some basic troubleshooting. So I showed you, for example, entering wrong targets, assignments, duplicate assignments, wrong numbers, and so on. That's some of the troubleshooting that you would have gone through, right? Let's go to the next slide. Patrick asked a question about the IANSEO scorekeeper, but I'll cover it in this context as well. So if you want to set up a local network, and just assuming you know how to do it, you need to understand the networking lingo and protocols. So this is the local address on the host, on your machine, okay? Now your machine will also have an IP address depending on where you're at. It could be a temporary address, right? Or if it's on a server out in the internet, it may have a fixed IP, or it may just be a name that's allocated to IP address. Okay. So when you set up your server, you need to know this information. That's if you want to have other clients here connected. Now for local network, it's very simple. I would recommend that when you set up this number, when you create a database, and I'll go back to that slide, not this slide, but the actual IANSEO. When you create a database and you enable IANSEO scorekeeper, if this number changes after you've set it up, your clients will not be able to connect when they scan the QR code. So you have to make sure that this IP address that's assigned to the server that you're using remains fixed or has a long lease on it. Okay, so when you create your IANSEO database, make sure you know that this number you're using here remains the same when you run the competition. Critical, right? Else it will not work. But once you have that set up, it's fine. Now, if the server is up and you have another laptop or workstation on the same network with you, all they have to do basically is in the web browser type in the IP address, which is this here, previous, and it will pop up the same. It will pop this up. It'll pop up the default, right? And then you can open your competition, and you could have multiple people entering at the same time because it's connecting back to a SQL database which will manage the entries simultaneously. Okay. What I'd recommend that you do, however, is that you assign people different parts of the event to enter, whether they're entering for a certain number of targets only or something like that, so there isn't any overlap or confusion. So that's one way you can do that, right? So remember, when you create a competition, let's see, close, new, you enable it here, IANSEO scorekeeper, right? And you'll put in the IP address in here, right? Okay. So this is what you would normally do for that, right? Let me see if I have one as an example.
Shabani, do I have a question here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so there's no authentication whereby a user connecting back to the server could be just entering scores or something.
Yes, you can set up authentication. Yeah, so that's more when it's more advanced part of things. Yeah, you can set that up.
So the next course might cover that.
Well, I'm hoping to be in that course. So I'm hoping that I mean I can experiment. I did once actually, and I ended up locking myself out when I was testing it out. So
yeah, similar things happen there.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that Andre runs one, which I call her more advanced course that I could attend. And
Okay, well,
then
whenever that happens, then keep me posted in the loop, please.
yeah, because I mean, if I had time, I'll figure it out because I mean, understand the databases and stuff like that and the access controls. But it's just the time I don't have to really dabble in it, and I can't really teach it if I haven't fully understood it myself, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so I don't want to get into that part of it, but yes, you can set up the access control via IP address as well and all these different things and database control. So you can put security in place. But for a local setup where it's a local control network, I have a problem because it's just a local IP and not connected to anything else. And that has worked for me. Yeah, so those here, look for example here, this is one I did where I set the IP address. This was the IP address on the server. Okay, and once you enable that and you do your score sheets, you can't change it because it's the QR code is all tied into this. So when it scans the QR code, it looks for this other information as well to connect to the server. That's the IANSEO Scorekeeper app. And if it has the wrong IP address after you set it up, it isn't going to connect. Yep, I leave this as default as well, the port number as default, yeah. So it's that simple, yeah. So yeah, so I mean, what I advise is that you guys start playing with the application. We will all learn from each other eventually. I'll try and see if I can get Andre to probably run a more advanced course. I believe the last one will actually, that planned one for last year, I'm not sure if it came off or not, but it might have been in Spanish, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, but as you can see.
I think they're planning one for the competition in Mexico in November.
Oh, this year?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, right, yeah. But you see, you have to get there. So I was in contact with Andrea actually on this one. He's hoping to get him to join, but you know, it didn't work out because it was a busy first part of the year, and then I deferred hosting this one. But yeah, if they do have an advanced one, the thing is, I ain't going to be flying to Mexico. So this particular one we did today was the first time we actually tried it like this via Zoom. And, you know, I'm learning as well. But now it's time to put Chrissy on the spot. So Chrissy, you're going to be sharing your screen with us. So let me see. Are you ready?
Yeah, certainly.
Yes.
Sergio is actually looking into getting an online one for English speaking Saudi. So he's trying to find someone because they could do his Spanish very easily, but they can't find an English speaking person who really know it all enough to teach it yet. But they are looking into it. They are actually looking into it because we were in discussion with them about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't mind helping, but I can say I consider myself sort of intermediate level right now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and maybe one day I'll get to advance, but I don't mind running a basic course like this, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, because I have the experience now and I'm confident in terms of troubleshooting and so on to share with everybody.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
I have some others here on the island that are interested in doing it, but this one was a little bit too sudden for us, more or less. So that's why I'm the only one here that is doing it. But
Right.
there is a few others here that is interested in it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, how things go. I mean, most of us getting locked down these days. We may have more time to do more of these courses. And you never know. If there's a demand, I might run a second one before the end of the year. Or we do a group session with maybe a few of us who want to share back and forth and look at some of the advanced features and play around with it and so on, right? But as you can see, the application itself is very powerful in terms of managing the event. You can manage all the aspects of the event. And me personally, after started using it, it's an invaluable tool for me to use right now. You know, I can't think of running an event without it right now, to be honest. So yeah, so it's just a matter of getting it and to start using it.
Right, I appreciate you coming in and thinking because we have some experts here in Barbados, but unfortunately they don't like to share information.
Yeah. You have some guys in Barbados who do it well. Yeah, they're using it.
Yeah, but they don't, they don't want to share the information.
So I have a suggestion based on what Archery did for the judges seminar that we attended. They just created a WhatsApp group, so any tweets and kinks and questions could be discussed. And that's something that could be done with these members that are taking this course here.
No, great idea, great idea. So what I need is, I think I have most everybody's phone numbers. And yeah, so I think it's a good idea because if people run into problems or we need help or we want to talk, we can always put in a chat and help one another out, right? You know, as I said, I'm not an expert yet. I hope to get there, but I'm hearing from you guys as well.
The little chat that we are in, the Caribbean team chat, is that everyone here in that same chat?
No, this is a different subset.
No,
So,
this is a different.
yeah,
this is a different
it's a different subset. So I could create a separate chat for
the reason why I asked that is because right now there are too many group chats all over.
I understand. Yeah,
a great number of chats here, but I'll be able to still
I know what you mean, but I personally prefer that because then you have too much information on one as well. If you have too little chats, I like targeted chats. You know.
Yeah, me too. But the targets now is becoming so fast and furious that
right.
You can't hit all of them one time.
Yeah, I understand. Sabrina, you want to share your screen?
Yes, sure, I'll do that. You have to enable the screen sharing though.
Yep. Well, let's see. Cool.
There we go. Yeah.
You're good? All right.
Right, so what I have here so far, well, I do not have a spreadsheet to import information from. So I just manually put in some random names.
Right, okay, cool.
That I had put into my competition. I'll go back into the competition details. I think where would I get that just now?
Now go back up. So where you want to go?
I was going back into the competition details.
Okay, so click on competition.
Going down a little bit too fast.
Yes. Click on competition.
Back competition.
I don't know what's going on here.
Go to competition. Actually, competition underneath the arrow,
Yeah.
Come down. Code. Next one. No, back up.
Go back up. You did competition.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Right.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Right. Looking good.
I'd entered this stuff. I was trying to, but this might not work, so I'll just put it no, right?
Yeah, leave no for now. Yeah, that's fine. See it. Cool. Good to go.
Right.
Now you did an indoor event, right? I see you have 18-meter, 2 distances.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, no problem. Yep, and junior and senior only. Okay. All right, good. So show us some more. You see Sarah put in, she put in organized by, right? And she has the folks in there.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I just think.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm saving that. Right, everything is saved there. So yeah, so I was going on to the participants some things. Yeah, so I was saying that I had to manually put in the names here, so I just put in some random names. Or if I was looking at like the details such as date of birth and so on, I can't put it in like this.
Yeah. Yeah, you could type it in the advance, or just as you said did there, you could do it manually for each person. But the form from Excel, when you create the Microsoft form, you can capture that information as well, right? The information, and then it will actually create the correct, put the people in the correct category.
Yeah.
But note as well, guys, that you may have someone who's a master in age, but should it open. So even though the database may capture it as a master, you need to be mindful that if the one should open, you have to manually change it to open entry in the system.
Right. Okay.
And vice versa. You may have a junior one should open.
Open, yeah.
Yeah, so just be mindful of that. Yes.
Right. Okay. So that was that, and then well, I guess you could when you finish, you could organize your scorecards and so on.
Right. So how do you do that?
Right. So
now go to qualification of participants. for the participants.
Okay. Right. I saw it somewhere. Yeah.
So target. This is, no, sorry. No, so qualification. Qualification.
Right. Scorecard printout there.
Scorecard printout. Right. So click on that.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah, I remember seeing it.
Right. Good. So then you select the session. Select session.
So session 1.
And put 1 to 1 target, so it wouldn't be print too much, or 1 to 2. So from targets 1 to 2, that's 1 to 24 there. So put 1 to 2.
Targets 1 to 2.
Yeah, just to limit the output. And then you select the distances. So click on the checkbox next to 1. Okay.
Right.
And then click print scores.
Right. So
click print scores. No, don't uncheck that. Uncheck that. Click the print scores below. Yeah, print scores.
Oh, right.
Click that. Right. Cool.
Okay, yeah.
Right, scroll down. So it have no names there because probably they won't assign the target yet.
Yeah, I didn't put them in yet. Yeah.
Right. But that's okay as well, because sometimes you may have a tournament where you just want this printed out and people can write in their information.
Right.
Yeah, so that's an option as well. So you don't always have to have it on the sheet.
Right.
Okay. So that's good. So how about when I assign them some targets? Let's assign them some targets and see.
Okay, so
as a manual way, try it automatically and see what happens first. So go to participants.
automatic? Okay.
Yes, click on target. Now go back to participants again. Click on target, come down, target. Draw. Draw. Click on draw. Right. Select the session on the left. Right, click on put percent sign, right? Click on draw type, standard draw. Yeah, put separate divisions if you like. Click on that box.
Right.
Click on assign target to the right, go across, leave that one, go across to the right, assign target. No, assign target to the left of that, assign. And then from targets 1, so I think you had 24 for 24.
Yeah, 24.
Right, and then click OK.
Just now, that on the filter where you put the percent, you wouldn't have to put division or class.
The percent will cover everybody. You do not automatically. Okay. So they'll work it out.
Okay.
So when you have separate division, you'll then put everybody in separate divisions and classes. So you check that box here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Click OK. You click OK.
Yeah, click OK.
Okay.
That's
something didn't go right.
I think the problem is targets 1 to 2, not 24, because you changed it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see. No, still nothing.
Okay, so let's go into the participants advanced and see how it looks now. All right, so it's still in assigning targets, all right? Something isn't right. So it probably, the rest of the information is not in there in terms of what is shooting, for example.
Right.
So when you look to the right, the division isn't filled out and the category, so it doesn't have enough information to do everything it needs to do.
Okay, yes, that's true.
Because remember, it depends on the division, it also depends on what target type you use.
Target, yeah. Lower end or higher end, or as you can.
Yeah, whether 122 phase, 80 centimeter phase. So this is why you need to have one.
Right, this is why all the information is needed, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So this is a good exercise as well to show you that here, if you don't have information up front, you may run into these issues.
Probably next time we could have have like a demo.
Yeah. So let's look at what you have in there again. Click on competition on the left hand side. And let's look at edit competition info. Right. So let's look at the session information you have in there. Go back, edit session. Good. So in here you have targets per session 24 and you have 4 archers per target. You see that there? Right?
Right.
Good. It's an indoor competition, right? So you have 10 ends of 3 arrows each, which is fine. Good. So go back on competition again and click on edit competition info and click on division and classes. Good. So here shows you what you have. I just checking to make sure everything is in there, right? So you have all classes. I can see that in here.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's go back to competition info again. And let's go edit info and let's look at the manage distances. Okay, everything here looks fine. Let's go back into competition. So you know this though, hold on, before you run off. Everyone should in one distance, right? It's 18 meters. So remember she selected an indoor event. So you know there's always just 18 meters, right? Let's go to manage targets. Right, so it shows you now here for 18-meter event, okay? So if you look at the top one, it tells you for recurve and bareboat, the default percent. Indoor 6%, right? 40 centimeter target. So this is the we call it the vertical spot or triangle, because you call it from 6 to big 10, right? The default for compound, it also has 6 to small 10, because you know the compound only shoots the small 10. Right, so it shows you that there. And then the last one optional is bareboat. This has 1 to 10, so they use the 10 ring for bareboat. So so it's a good comparison to show you the difference between an indoor event and an outdoor event, how it sets up the information. Yep. But for yours, one thing is missing from yours is the information for the individuals, the division, the age, and stuff like that. As
So I guess
assigned. Yeah.
I guess the spreadsheet would have had all of that information on it.
Yeah, yeah. But you could put it in manually as well, but it's just more good.
Yeah.
Cool. Very good. Thanks. Very good, Chrissy. That's good.
Sure. Thanks.
Right. Anyone else want to demo this? Anyone else was following along?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, Ryan. That's it, you.
Get out and get off. I told you did I not say no? No.
Ryan?
Yeah, sorry, I was just telling you following along.
Yeah. Oh no, I know anyone else who had a database up they wanted to share that or playing around with. You probably share it now.
Get some paper and see.
So Ricardo, did you try it? Did you have anything up?
Yes, they have mine, but unfortunately it's on a separate computer, so
Oh, you can't
really show it.
okay. All right. Patrick, did anybody on your side try it out?
I don't do anything but
I have it installed, but I don't think I'm ready to do a demo at this time. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, well, we all learn it, so we don't make any mistakes. So don't be. This is how we learn. So you really get you guys' feet wet, you know, using the application. That's the best way to learn. I've realized. But if you all, let's see if I can share screen again.
Yeah, I put that. Your section is there.
Yeah, a little background noise now.
Right in front.
Well, I think you're sharing Ryan's screen right now.
I am?
Yes.
Correct.
Oh, cool. Good. All right. I ran. So let's see what you got.
So I did this one without no knowledge of this program.
Yeah.
While it was playing around, so we did something last month, like I tell you.
Right. Let's see what you have.
I just was messing around with the virtual one, but this one has more information.
Yeah.
So we did it for just 80 meters to distance. Filled in all these particular things as testing. Mm-hmm. Multiple sessions because of COVID, different locations.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
What else you want me to show? See?
So yeah, click on competition and click on edit. Yeah, let's look at the session info. Let's see something there. Right. So you have session, and you have start times and everything like that. Okay.
Right. So they drill it down just to play around and make sure that.
But one thing I see different though. I see you have 6 arrow ends as an indoor event. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So typically it would be 3 arrow ends, but fine. It will be 10 ends of 3 arrows each, typically.
Right.
That's the only thing there. Archers per target. You did 1 archer per target.
Yeah.
1, cool. All right, yeah, looking good, man. Yeah, very good. Go competition, edit info. Let me see. Divisions and classes. Let me see something. All right. So what you have there is the men, women. You put no junior. Junior woman. Okay. Why you put no
junior men.
men? The classes. I see it have no there.
No junior men.
Okay, you didn't have any.
We didn't have any registered junior men. We had registered junior women.
Okay, all right. Cool. Did you actually have scores input for this one?
Yes.
Okay, let's see the qualification and let's look at the input score. And let's look at advanced arrow by arrow, scorecard view. The last one, the fourth one. Arrow by arrow, yeah, click on those. Yeah, click on that one, let's see. Click on session 1, distance 1, target. I'm not sure what your target number is. So is it 001A? Yeah. A. Click OK. Right. So this is for this distance for this particular individual, which is Zamoladin. All right.
Zamoladin, yeah.
You're right. You can see all his score information. So if, for example, you wanted to re-enter his score sheet after the competition, you could probably use this format and just type it in. And it looks looking pretty good, yeah. Okay, cool. So then let's look at the output. Let's see your score output. So if you do printout, participant, division, class results. And click on the middle one, take up class division results. Let's see how you're looking. Yep, cool. So this is your results here for 3. That's Nicholas 1 and Juan 2nd. Yep, good. Well done. So you're well on the way, man. Very good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, well done. Yeah. Any other demos there? All right, cool. All right, guys. So I think I had no idea how long it will actually take us to run through a session like this, and it looks like it took us about 2 hours, just over 2 hours. Let me share screen. Let me just share screen 2. And yeah. So look like it just took us over 2 hours. Usually if you're going past that, you normally have a break in between. So I think 2 hours was, what do you all think? I need some feedback in terms of the session, how we can make it better in the future, and what things we could do differently.
I think this is quite nice because I presume you will share with us the recording so we can review it on our own independently. And for 2 hours, that's kind of like maxing out the review kind of time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Any other comments?
Yeah, I'd also like to say thank you. I thought it was really great idea to share. It's going to strengthen us as a community when more of us are able to work the system and our archers are able to understand it and expect it. So I wanted to say thanks. I thought it was a really good workshop. I'm glad that it was offered. And I wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, Shivan, it was a very informative session. I picked up a lot. Next time I tried to download the IANSEO, but it was giving problems with the download, so I will have to try and do that outside. And then would you send did you have PowerPoint slides that you wanted to send as well?
The slides that we have here, let's see, previous, I have these slides here. You're going to get these slides.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree with everybody. It was a really informative session we had here today. Really learned a lot. So thank you very much.
Yeah, but what I want to see folks doing really is dabble. See how Ryan did it, right? Is start using it. You'll make errors. That's okay. If you ever enter a problem, you can always send me a note or ask me a question. The best way to learn is to start using it. Yeah.
Totally agree. It was very timely I must say, because I was in contact with a couple of other individuals in the Caribbean, and one of the ideas is looking to put on a virtual tournament early next year.
Yes,
So
yes,
I
yes.
guess that we should really start using it, getting familiar with it,
Right. Yep.
because right now I am thinking of planning a session with all the Caribbean islands early next year.
Yes.
They were thinking about this year, but nobody, all of us don't really know the program that well to really do it and get it put off really, really good. So I think that this is a very good opportunity now that we have this little training that we could do our work in our individual places and get together and let us start pushing Archery Caribbean forward.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I'd push the idea of a virtual SEC as well, because I mean, we're not sure how these lockdowns are going to last, and
Exactly.
yeah. But I've been doing virtual events with 60x since last year, actually.
Yeah, I know. I've been with it for quite a while. Unfortunately, we were shut down for most of this year, so all the ranges have been shut down. So we haven't really been having anything going on here in Barbados. But only a few of us have a facility that we could shoot at home. So it's a bit rocky in Barbados.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But hopefully, I mean, I hope this lockdown stop, soon for all of us. But this is an option we have, right? We could, if we understand this a little better, we could run our events virtually as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Kind of bring us closer together as a Caribbean community.
Exactly. Because we could also sort of replace the Southern Caribbean Championship. Just like how we're actually doing some of their shoots now, like how they did the virtual shoot where they only had the medal contenders coming to a location and shooting. Rather than having everybody coming and doing the qualifier, do the qualifier virtually, and then just have the limited people coming to shoot for the medals. So that is something too that we could look at, because it will cut down from the overall cost of having a whole big team coming to a location and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Anyways, I'd just like to say thank you again, Sherwin. I mean, this is an excellent presentation. And for me, the pandemic has opened a new vista of opportunities for collaboration across distance, space, and time.
Yes.
And whilst we might not have had shooting opportunities, we have had quite a bit of training going on that would not have been possible otherwise. Opportunities which we all gained from, which some of us may not have been able to acquire or achieve. So for me, the pandemic has afforded us an opportunity to reset and think about the way we move forward. And I do agree with Anthony that especially with this training, we can standardize scoring and formatting and that kind of thing to have competitions now across distance and space. So it does open a new vista for us and a new opportunity. And I want to say thank you again for sharing your expertise with us.
Looking forward to a lot more things like this in the future.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining, and hopefully we get our advanced course in the future. I too am looking forward to one of those. And I'll probably ping Sergio and Andrew on that and see, if we get something done virtually as well, because not all of us will be able to travel, right? To some of these training sessions. I mean, I too benefited quite a lot last year, being able to attend like the US Archery Coaches Forum virtually. Previously, it was just too hard to try and travel and attend it. So I think all of us benefited, and I just using this as an opportunity to give back as well to the community. And, let's just keep this sharing going.
Only lasts like 5 minutes.
Yeah, Sherwin, I'm thinking about reaching out to Dominic from the 6CX.
Yes.
And asking him if he would be willing to come and do an advance Because he seems to know the thing.
Yes. Yeah, no, Dominic is here. He's pretty good. Now I actually used Dominic's system in December. So I did my live one.
Right.
I had him host me the days to me live. Right. But when I spoke to Andre, he said he could also do it for me. That's the IANSEO guys as well. So so in the future we could use Dominic's system, or we could use IANSEO directly. So we have that option as well.
But the more the more options we have, the better it is.
I did it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, guys.
Well, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Looking forward to the next time.
Yes.
Thanks again.
Okay.
Seeing you all
Thank
in some
you.
competitions. All right, guys.
All the best to everyone.
Okay. Take care.
Okay.